What is going on, Torah for Life family? We are back. This time around, I have a very, very special guest joining me today, none other than my girl, Asia Garrison. What is going on, Asia? How you doing today?
Hey everyone, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yo, this is gonna be so much fun because if y'all didn't know, my girl Asia is an author, an amazing author at that. And she recently just launched a new book and it's on point. I got it right here with me right here. And I'm telling you, Asia, so this book is about comparisons and how comparisons can kill us if we are not careful. And that's what we're going to be diving into today is looking at the role comparison plays in our life. And I just wanted to start things off. Asia, you know I love the covers of your book. So I already shouted you out, but just for a moment, let's shout out your amazing artist. Like, who does the cover art for your books?
Absolutely. He's from St. Louis. His name is Rail, and he literally takes care of me all the time. He is so gifted, and I'm just honored to be able to support his gift for
Yeah,
sure.
shout out to Rail, yo. Anybody that need a dope book up, I'm telling you, every time your book covers always catch my eye, catch my attention. I'll be like, ooh, what she didn't drop now? Like, cause I need to check it out.
Thank you so much. He is really, really good. Jarrell Lawrence is his name, and
Nice.
he the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
He is, yo, I'm telling you. So what led you to write this book? Yo, real lovers, Torah for Life family, definitely check this book out. You see the cover here. I'm gonna have a link in the description for y'all to go grab it. But now me and Asia, we're about to dive in and talk about it. So what led about you writing this book?
Honestly, right after I wrote my first book, Dirty Virgin, I just felt like the Lord was preparing me for this next topic because I know me when I'm on social media and I'm just talking to my friends, I'm noticing that there's a lot of comparisons, like people not feeling confident and feeling that God has blessed them with certain gifts. Like people really out here thinking that they giftless. And I'm just like,
Right.
wait a minute. Or having these unrealistic expectations for themselves, like, hey, I gotta do this by the time I'm 22. And I'm just like, who
Hmm.
set that standard? Like, where are you getting that from? Like, is this
Right.
something that God told you have to have done by this certain amount of time? Or are you looking at other people's lives or what social media is saying, and you're like, hey, I have to do it by this. So people comparing in that aspect, people just questioning God based off of someone else's life. And I'm just like, look, y'all are killing y'all purpose. People's favorite question to me is like, I don't know my purpose. And I'm just thinking, well,
Hmm.
you killing it, number one, by constantly comparing yourself to other people. So that's how the guilt from comparing came about. I wanted people to, look at the cover, like, I got
Hmm.
my book right here as well.
Yes.
Look, imagine taking a gun and every time you compare yourself, you're shooting your purpose. Like I needed
Right.
people to know like that comparisons is shooting your purpose down.
It is. It is. And comparisons is something that we all have experienced in life to varying degrees. But I think we both can agree that it's been intensified with social media coming on the scene because it just
Absolutely.
opens up that floodgate. And I just want to know for you in particular, when you look at your life, when did you really become aware of the impact that comparisons was having on either your relationships or even the way you view yourself?
I think for me, just being a woman, every woman has some type of like body issue that they may struggle with. And it doesn't necessarily have to be weight. It could be anything where
Hmm.
you're like, I want this better. And I think for me, just looking at social media and seeing all these women with like these banging bodies, I'm like, man, like these women are snatched because we have a new normal when it comes to bodies and all
Right.
women know it. I mean, you got 18-year-olds going to get surgery now, going to get their bodies done. I mean, it is a big thing. And I have fallen victim of maybe not wanting to go to that extreme, but just feeling not content, not feeling happy. And
Hmm.
I open up with that, just sharing like how I felt about my body and wanting to lose weight and wanting to look a certain way. And you go on Instagram and you got these girls that's baby snatched to the guys.
Right.
I mean, they are bodied and you just like looking at yourself like, man, I won't be able to look like that. Like it ain't enough working out in the world that's gonna give me that. So you begin to compare. And then you
Yeah.
also, if we're being honest, you see that,
Hmm.
I'm a woman that likes men. So you see
Yeah.
that men are very attractive. You gotta And it's just, you see that men, that's what's in, and you like, okay, men liking that, I'm not that. This woman got that. Like, you just start to compare so much. So for me, it was body image, but that's the number one thing that I saw a lot with women is when it comes to the bodies and how you look, for sure.
And I can believe that too, because the first thing that we see in other people is their exterior, right? And the first thing that we see when we actually look in the mirror of ourselves is our exterior. And then when you go on social media, that's what most people are sharing. You know, you got the selfies, and then it graduated from the selfies to people being able to show like the whole full body. And like you said, there's that whole, I guess we can say, that whole trend of like the fitness model, and just being able to see people working out, you know, in the wear that is very, I'm trying to find the right word to be nice, you know, they showing off their assets, if we can just put it like that. You know, they're definitely they're trying to accentuate certain pieces, right? And it definitely will leave a person like, oh, wow, I don't look like that. And this is from a perspective of a man as well. You know, you see some of these fitness models from men, you know, they showing off the abs, they showing off the pecs, and they showing off the biceps. And it's like, yo, if you're not in the gym lifting every single day, then you're probably not in a rush to take off your shirt, take pictures, and post it for the world to see.
Absolutely. And that's so funny. And we talk about that in the book, like how men have some of the same comparisons that women do, or maybe not the same, but they compare in different areas.
Right.
And like, you're just looking at all of this. And then we also have to understand that we're consuming a lot. Like, it's not normal to be able to consume what someone from another country, or all of these women from other countries or different states, are doing with their body. Like, that's a lot. When you think about, like, back in our parents' day, like, they didn't know what was going on like that. News didn't travel like that. They didn't have a sneak peek into someone's life like that. We do. So I feel like that, is social media great? Absolutely. But the enemy is definitely playing off of that and allowing comparisons into people's lives. And so when it came for me with the weight thing, I said, look, if you gonna keep complaining about it, you just gotta change it. So I went on started a healthy lifestyle February 22nd. And now my body is transforming. My diet has changed, and I'm cool. Like, I'm enjoying it, but I gotta keep my eyes on the prize. Like, I can't, because imagine, I know, I was working out one day. I had just worked my butt off, and a friend of mine called me, and she was like, girl, I just got my body done. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, boy, I didn't work out for 2 months straight to lose 15 pounds. And people are just getting this instant, gratification, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But I just know that's not for me. I know that that's not the message that I'm trying to send, especially when it's based off comparisons. Like, that's the root of it. That's the issue, when the comparisons is the root of why you're doing something, and not because you truly want to, but the comparisons of looking like somebody else, or looking like, what's considered society accepted by society. So,
And you bring up a good point. People can take action, but the reason why you're taking that action is so important. I know we are a results-oriented society, where people only care about what's being produced, what is the accomplishment, what is the end result. But the reasoning behind the actions that we're taking are just as important. Like you mentioned, 2 people may get in shape, may get the body that they desire or that they were seeing on Instagram and comparing themselves to. But I promise you, the mindset in that person that actually went to the gym, that actually watched and had the discipline to eat the things that are actually healthy, versus the person that took, for lack of a better term, a shortcut to go get a surgery and get those same results, the mindset is completely different. Because the person that went through the work of working out and eating right, they changed throughout that process. It wasn't just their body that changed, but their spirit changed, their soul changed, their mind changed. They changed and evolved, I would even say, as a human being. Versus the other person, all they really did was just, quote unquote, fix the problem. And sometimes it's not really about fixing the problem, but going on that journey that gets you from where you are to where you want to be.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, and you can relate this just back to your relationship with Christ. Like, it's just a journey. Everything we do is a journey, but we just live in a society where everything got to be fast. Like, because we
Yeah.
have technology and science that allows quick things. But just because technology and science allows it doesn't mean that that's what God wants for us.
Right.
Because we can be escaping the spiritual things that we learn on these journeys as well too. Like, you can ask yourself questions like, man, if I'm being this dedicated to the gym, like, let me take some of this dedication into my word. Because if I can go
Right.
to the gym every day, I can read my word every day. So
Mhm.
those are the type of conversations that you can have in creating longevity when it comes to your relationship with God. I'm like, man, if I can go work out for 45 minutes a day, twice a day, I can sit in my word for at least 30 minutes a day. Like, you
Right.
just start to think about that type of stuff. Like, if you're organizing your time in this
Mhm.
manner, which is fine, go to the gym every day. Like, you can do the same with your word, but it just teaches you repetition and habit. And I think
Right.
that it can just transfer over to your relationship with God and building healthy habits.
Most definitely. It can. Now, when the topic of comparison comes up, there's this quote that I'm guessing you've heard, which is comparison is the thief of joy. What comes to your mind, or how does that quote make you feel when you hear it?
Absolutely. I think that someone can be feeling very excited about something. Let's just say someone just got, and we're just going to use this as an example, someone
Okay.
working in McDonald's. We're both working in McDonald's,
Mhm.
and someone just got promoted to manager. And you're
Right.
so excited. Like, you're so excited. You started off at that window. Now you ain't at the window, you in the office, right? But then your
Uh-huh.
friend comes and he just opened a McDonald's. Like, he owns the store.
Mm.
So in that
Mhm.
moment, your joy was just taken because of
Right.
comparisons, because now you're comparing the role that you were just blessed with. You're not even looking
Mhm.
at the advancement that you made. You just
Right.
automatically looking at one of your homeboys is the owner of it. And now that
Mhm.
moment where you were supposed to celebrate and thank God for what he's doing, because God can be like, you know what, you the manager now because I'm gonna have you on 5. You can't even,
Right.
you're not even looking at that no more. You're just looking at somebody else is
Mhm.
owning one and I'm just the manager. And that quick with
Right.
that comparisons, the
Yeah.
enemy just came and just took the joy away from you.
Mhm. And you know what I find so interesting when it comes to comparison is that people often make comparisons from, I guess, the negative perspective where they put themselves in the lesser role and they compare themselves to somebody that is, quote unquote, in a better position. But
Mhm.
I rarely see people do it the other way, right? Where somebody is in the quote unquote better position and they're comparing themselves to people that will be in a lesser position. And it's interesting
Good.
because when you think about that, it goes to show you how we never look at our equals. And for most part, we ignore people that would seemingly be doing things that are beneath or below what we're currently doing. And we're looking at people that's above us. But here's the caveat in that. It can be a benefit or it can be a curse. It can be beneficial when we're looking at those people as inspiration, as motivation, as mentors. But
Yes.
then when we allow that comparison to creep up, it puts us in a place where now we're just really putting ourselves down. It's not so much
Yeah.
we're building that other person up, but as much as it
Mhm.
is, we're spending time tearing ourselves down, our own
Yeah.
accomplishments down, like the example that you gave. Getting that job, becoming a manager, getting that promotion, that's key. That's something to be happy about. But then
Yeah.
somebody else that is operating in a completely different lane just because it happens to be somewhat related to McDonald's, now the person just shut down and totally took away their own accomplishments.
Yeah, that's so good. One thing
Yeah,
that you said that I wanted to point out, you talked about like
please.
being motivated from someone. So when I
Hmm.
was writing this book, a lot of people was like, yeah, no, I don't compare. I'm just motivated. And I think that people confuse the two.
Right.
Comparisons and being motivated by someone is completely different. I
Mm.
can be motivated by someone that does fitness. They post a picture and they like headed to the gym. What you doing? I'm like, well, shoot, let me get up and go to the gym too. Like, I'm motivated
Right.
by their response. But a comparison is like, man, like they always in the gym. Like, why I can't be in the gym? Like, it's
Mm.
not result based. And I think that
Hmm.
that's what the biggest difference is. Like, yeah, you can look at what someone's doing and be motivated by it. It's not necessarily a
Hmm.
comparison, but you're just motivated to do better in your life. And I think that
Right.
that's the part that people are missing. That's what we want.
Right.
We want to see people posting different things, entrepreneurs or people,
Hmm.
working their jobs and advancing and like, hey, I can do that too. Let me
Hmm.
ask them what they did to get to this. And
Right.
maybe I can start implementing that in my life and take the motivation piece from it because that's God, right?
Hmm.
Opposed to going the enemy's route, which is the comparisons. And now you're
Yeah.
questioning yourself. So I think that that's what we're missing. Like, look at what you're looking at. Sure, if you're going to look at the content, look at it, but be motivated by it, be encouraged by it. But I'm not going to just blame the people, because sometimes people, they say it's motivational purposes, but they're bragging, they're boasting, they're full of pride, it's egotistical. Like they know what they're doing too, you know? So it's on both ends. Like where your heart really at. Was this a motivational post or was it a flex? And most of the time people be flexing, but then say, hey, I'm just trying to motivate. No, you wasn't. No, you weren't.
Kind of like what they say, like a humble brag. It's like, yo, you was really trying to big yourself up. As you were saying, you was trying to flex. And now, because you don't want to come off as a narcissist, or you don't want to come off as a person that's self-centered, you trying to downplay what you actually were doing, which is, yo, you were tooting your own horn.
Right.
You were showing off a little bit.
Absolutely. Now it's everyone's jealous. Nah. And that's why even as leaders, you're a leader, I'm a leader. If you're leading in any capacity, it's so important when we know how the enemy is using social media, when we know how he's using comparisons, we got to evaluate ourselves too. Cause we ain't too far above where we can't come in the flexing culture. Okay. Like we ain't too far, you know, cause we're human. We are human. So it's so important for us to check our hearts as leaders. One of my favorite preachers, Heather Lindsay, she made a post about this, like where she has to guard the hearts of those that follow her. And ever since she said that, it really stuck with me. Like, you know, so she's really big with turning her comments off, or people are speaking negative, she'll delete their comments and stuff like that. Not because she has to, but she wants to guard those women's heart. And I took that and I ran with it, because some people don't know how to guard their heart. Some people don't even know what that means. And as a leader, we have to step in and be like, you know what, those who look up to us, I'm going to guard your heart. And that means that sometimes I can't post everything.
Right.
As a leader.
I'm curious, how have you taken what she said with regards to being a leader and guarding the hearts of those who are, you know, quote unquote, following or who are influenced by you? How do you take what she said and apply it in your life?
Absolutely. So what I do most of the times, and this is just, we're talking about social media, but I just try to always just tell the whole story, right? For example, I know that when I was in grad school, I didn't really talk about grad school like that. Like I never announced that I was in grad school or anything like that. And I remember one day I just posted that I got my degree, like, oh, just out of nowhere. You know,
I think I remember that.
Moves, you know,
I was like, you better get it, Asia.
Silent moves. However, I personally, to me, I feel like I didn't do it right, because I should have talked about everything that went on with grad school. Not that I just got this degree, but no, it took me an additional year. I was on academic probation. I almost got put out quite a few times. Like I left out half the story. Like, of course, most people were like kind of celebrating, but to somebody else, it could have looked like, man, like Asia always doing something. Like she always busting moves. Like but me guarding their hearts to stop the comparison was like, hey, this was not an easy journey. Like I was on academic probation. I had to write appeals. I had to take statistics 3 times. That's kind of protecting people's hearts when it comes, you know, from my opinion, it's telling the whole story. Because if people know the whole thing, they're not so quick to compare. It's only when you don't know everything that went into it that you're quick to compare, in my opinion,
so true,
depending on the situation.
That is so true. And what it reminds me of, let me know if you've seen these posts. I've seen it on Twitter where people will put like a picture of themselves, and maybe even on Instagram too. And then in the caption or in the text on Twitter, it'll be all of the things that they went to get there. Like it may be somebody taking a picture in front of a new car, or somebody, you know, showing you that they just bought their home, but then they'll say, you know, rejected this many times, you know, like had to go to an accident, almost killed, you know, my other car was ruined, was without a car, walking or taking the bus for almost 3 months. And they will kind of give you like the journey that got them to that point. And when I see those posts, they really resonate with me, because I like the transparency of a person saying, yeah, you can see me in this new whip. You can see me with this new house. You can, you know, going back to the example before, you can see me with, you know, this new amazing body. But let me give you just some of the things that I encountered along the way that maybe I wasn't posting when it was happening, because guess what? Those things are hard. Those things suck. And most people don't really want to open up and share it, especially when you're going through. And that's what you just shared reminded me of, is when a person is like, yo, I can share the accomplishment that I got, but I also want to let you know that there were some, you know, some challenges along the way too.
Absolutely. And I think that having the discernment to know when to do that, I think that was a good example. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And I just think it's just so helpful for people, especially when you know what type of culture we're living in. Like,
Yes.
do sometimes you just want to post, and it depends on the post. If you out to eat, you ain't got to
Right.
tell me you and your family and just came from therapy. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like little pictures like that. I'm talking about the stuff that people compare, holding the weight, like when it comes to accomplishments and things like that. Just share, be transparent. When you look in the Bible, it's nothing but transparency. We don't see that somebody was just rich for no reason. We see why. Even with Solomon, like that wasn't like he just had all of this for no reason. He asked God for wisdom, and in return, God gave him both riches and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Like we see that. Imagine if we just read it and like, oh yeah, God made him super rich. But why? You know what I'm saying? But why? We need the why. So my thing is that and you don't have to tell people. My thing is that just don't post it then, you know? And this is just coming from a leader's perspective. Like leaders need to just be mindful of certain things and just helping to guard the hearts. If you
Most
can.
definitely. Yeah. And you know, something else that's really popular in our society nowadays is mental health. And when you think back on some of the comparisons that you've made throughout your life, how did it impact your mental health at that time?
Oh, that's a good question. How did it impact my mental health?
Right.
Oh, that's a deep question. When it comes to like, I would say more, I think my mental health was okay for the most part. Maybe like emotional health. I would say
speak on
like, yeah, I think that it caused me sometimes to just like emotionally eat in a sense. Like whenever like when I'm feeling down, like, I can't fit nothing. Instead of my butt, like, oh, you can't fit nothing, go get an apple. It's, I can't fit nothing, let me go get a honey bun.
Right. Because they are delicious.
Right. And we're being honest, because I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down. So for me, it just affected my emotions. And I guess that's, I don't know if that's the same as like your mental health, but it just affected my emotions and just how I felt. Like I didn't want to go anywhere. Like I had got to my heaviest. Like I didn't want to do anything because I was too heavy. I'm like, I can't fit nothing. I'm not going to keep buying these clothes. Like it just impacted my emotional health, which caused me to emotionally eat.
Right.
If that makes sense. But I think like mentally, I think I was okay for the most part.
That's good. Now I'm curious, when you look at your journey, just want to kind of dive in there a little bit. What was the catalyst for you? You know, when you just share with us, you know, you were at your heaviest, you were at a place where there were things that you wanted to try on, but wasn't able to, and you wanted to be in a different place. What was that spark? What was that event? What was that thing that got you to a place where you're like, yo, I'm really about to take action and I'm going to consistently stick with it?
A couple of things. I think the first thing, I'm like, you know what, God, you are blessing me with a lot. The vision that you've given me is big, but I can't be, and I hate to say this because I don't want to be offensive, but I'm not going to even say it, but you know what? I can't be.
Keep it 100. Keep it 100. We know it's in
what
love.
He's giving me is right. It's in love. Like I can't be big. Like it's big, but I can't be big. And I mean big in the sense of like unhealthy. Like I can't have diabetes doing this. I can't be. And there's no knock to people that, you know, are, but the Bible tells us to honor our temples and things like this. Is my temple. Like I gotta do better, because imagine me having to go do a Bible study in person, but I can't because I'm sick, because I'm overweight. Like I can't let unhealthy eating be the reason why I cannot fulfill the calling on my life. So that was the point where I'm just like, you know what, Asia, you say you sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got tired of repeating myself. I got tired of complaining. I got tired of just me. Like you got to get to a point where you just get sick of yourself. And I was just sick of myself. I'm like, you keep saying you want to be back the size that you were when you first went to college. Do it. It's you versus you. Do it. Ain't nobody stopping you. It isn't like you got a family to tend for, you know, to care for or anything like that. You're your only responsibility.
Right.
Myself. I'm young. I said, there's nothing stopping me. And it's just like, it's either you gonna change or you gonna complain. And I just talked about that yesterday. Pick which one. And I was tired of complaining to myself about it. So I woke up, I said, you know what? I'm about to go on a new healthy journey. And I promised to God, I said, Lord, I put this on everything I love. I promise I'd never get this size again if it's up to me. If it's in my control, I promise I will never disrespect my temple the way I have been. And on February 22nd, your girl got her butt up. And it's been a journey since, because it's still a journey, to say the least.
I love it. And, like I've been on the sidelines seeing some of the posts that you put up on Twitter throughout your journey. And I've just been sitting there totally inspired by it, just loving it that, man, like you're sticking with it. You're with it. You're taking action and you're not allowing anything to stop you. And that is so, so important. And the motivation that you give when it's a struggle, like, man, I almost felt like doing this, but I got up and I went to the gym anyway. Like, people need to hear that. And I love it.
People need to hear that I don't like working out. It is very much so a chore every single day. Once we're done with this, I'm going to go work out. Every day I'm working. I do not like it. I don't. And I tell people that, like, just because you see me out there, I'm pissed out there. I'm mad that I done had to stop what I'm doing to go get out of breath. But it's a lot of things in life that we're not going to like doing.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to put in my all, and that's all I can do. And I've been getting results. And I think that that's what people need to do. Bet on yourself. You betting on all these strangers. You compare yourself to people that you don't know. Bet on yourself. The time that you put comparing yourself to somebody else, wishing that you had their life. And I talk about this in the book. Like, sometimes people are wishing they had somebody else's life. But when you want somebody else's life, that comes with somebody else's faults.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? You just asked me about mental health. And I'm like, okay, for the most part, I think I'm okay with that. Not saying that, I have everything perfect, but for the right now, I'm okay. But if I'm wishing I want somebody else who got this banging body, now I got to take on her thoughts. So I'm not struggling with my mental health at the moment, but maybe that person is. And now I'm dealing with that, because you just can't get pieces of a person. You wishing you was somebody else. That come with all of their problems. That come with all of their baggage. That come with all of their past that they're constantly working through. Do you want that?
Right. In most cases, the answer to that is no. A big resounding no. All caps, bold, underline, exclamation point.
What we deal with is enough, right? Look, I'm battling my own stuff. I can't handle nobody else's stuff. Most I can do is listen and pray and be a good friend. But dealing with it internally, I can't chill. I'll be out of here. That's it. That's it.
That's real. That's real. And we know one of the main places where comparisons crop up is in relationships. And I'm curious to know, from your experience, how has making comparisons impacted the relationships that you were in, or either the relationships that you were trying to establish at the time?